So I'm Eric Fiss. I'm the public art planner at the City of Richmond. So I thought I'd do a short replacement, talk about nature and public art. Well, artists love nature, they love the environment, and they like to interpret it. This is a famous work from the 1970s. There were a group of artists who started working out in the natural landscape, doing simple tasks, but sometimes at a very large scale. I mean, this spiral jetty can be seen in satellites, and just a simple gesture at the Great Salt Lake in the salt flats at the edge of it is something that kind of is constantly interacting with the environment that's out there. Just a simple gesture by the artist of creating this jetty, and the salts that move in and out are affected. Another well-known artist, Andy Goldsworthy, often either finds natural sites and works with natural materials. I mean, here's this beautiful arch made out of, I believe it's sandstone, just dry set together to making a beautiful structure, just, appreciating the beauty of that material. A local artist, Nicole Dextrous, does a variety of things. She was an artist in residence at Van Dusen Garden, and she made this. Again, when an artist does something with nature, you have to think, what does it mean? What does this bit of sod that's saying culture, sort of propped up like that, mean? I mean, you can go back and look at something like Versailles and say, well, obviously the gardeners were artists, that when they created this garden that you see from the upper terrace, there's a beauty to it. And they wanted it to be seen from above the orangery. But here Nicole was actually doing something very similar. She made a simple frame cutout out of I think, plywood, and then laid it down on a grassy area, and it kind of, it didn't kill the grass, but it made the grass below it dormant, so then when it was removed, you'd get a similar patterning done right in the grass, and it shows that you can actually take natural materials with simple method and then create a shape. This was a small project in Delta at an elementary school where the school kids actually went through a whole process of designing a rain garden, and they looked at all the different succession of plantings from the coast up to the mountains, and they had a whole procession of bringing the plants there. Another shot of Nicole. This was a project she did for the City of Richmond's public art program at Lansdowne Shopping Center a couple of years ago, where she made an edible dress, and she'd actually be able to, people could hide under it, but she could also kind of create a salad by just harvesting right off of her dress. Different artists, such as Dan Graham, he actually has a similar installation, well, not with a mirror, but with glass and a hedge on top of the roof garden at Bob Rennie's gallery in Vancouver. But, it's looking at the juxtaposition of man-made and nature. What does that mean? What does it happen when you juxtapose it? This is a terrarium. Again, a man-made object sitting at a plaza near the Moscone Center in San Francisco, Yerba Buena Gardens, in front of the Art Museum. But when you walk up close to it and you look inside, there's been this terrarium that's been embedded inside it. Just as here, our very own Ford Grove out at Coppersmith, where there's this old Ford truck, which talks about the old agricultural history of the city, and and here's a tree growing up through it, and it's gradually being taken over by nature. This artist, again, Roxy Paymacy's beautiful, very beautiful metal trees. This is at Madison Square Park, and what they almost, you can look at it and say, well, there was a tree there at one point, and here's this monument to a memory of a tree that had been at that site. Other artists are getting involved in simply working with building, like on the glass of a building, rather than just having simple dots to try to diffuse the light. This artist kind of created patterns of the birch trees, and that tries to filter the light. Other artists might make things that are temporary. I mean, here's this beautiful chair, and a really nice, easy chair that I saw at a little demonstration garden in front of the City Hall in Paris. You can imagine just lounging on the grass on that one. Whereas here's a famous, larger work by an artist at the Bilbao Art Museum in Bilbao, at the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Jeff Koons, who has all these flowers that kind of are on this armature that makes this giant puppy. So, we all love puppies, and we all love flowers, and it doesn't get any better than that. But then you can have smaller things. You can have a chainsaw artist carving a stump into, an animal frozen there for time, as if we saw a squirrel earlier. So there's many different ways artists can get involved with nature, working directly with the nature. Or here's an example out in McLennan South, near I guess it's Ash Street, where the artist Monique Genton created these swallows that are around the lamppost, but also has interpretive signs to talk about the habitat of the swallows. And if you go over there in McLennan, you can see that. I mean, artists have been working with all the different elements, water, fire, air. Here are some examples of some beautifully designed water fountains in Barcelona. Art can kind of bring attention to details, can be playful, can be decorative, or it can just try to make you think about the different states of water. Here along a river, also in Bilbao, is this mist fountain. And next to it, of course, is another nature art, this giant spider by Louise Bourgeois. Under a bridge. So you can experience sort of an ephemeral type of art or something more provocative. And again, here in Richmond at the Pollock Neighborhood Park, Jeanette Lee, who's the same artist who did the artwork that we see at the entrance here at the Nature Park, Symphony Gardens. Anyway, the beautiful sculptures that we have here at the Nature Park. So thank you. Hope you can see some more of our public art around the city. And